Hello and welcome to I Can't Say It Day, I don't know, 200 and something? 26, 27, 28, something like that. Because I know I'm supposed to add 212 because there are 212 days through July 31st, but I don't remember if today's the 15th or the 16th. Let's see, my birthday was on the 9th, plus 7, 16, so that means today's the 16th. So it's day 228. Whew. What do you know about that? Okay, so the weight not really coming off. It's still hovering at 265 point something, but that's okay. Had a great ride home today. Personal records up the wazoo. I think it was because the wind went my way. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, it was just right. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Anyway, but I was very happy that I was just doing really well. I got home in 1:13:50 something. There were several spots along the way where I had hit some traffic lights, and that impacted my speed. But fortunately, I'm not one of those masochistic riders who, goes all out all the time, trying to get the best ride possible. Not doing that. But it was, it was a fun ride. I passed one rider. I don't usually do that. I'm getting out of the seat a lot more, and it's feeling good to do that. So, and that means that my average speed was somewhere around 14 or 15 miles an hour. You can do the math. Whatever 18.5 divided by 1.25 is. Maybe it's 14. Who knows? But there were some points where I was, going at 18 miles an hour, and I hit 25 at one point. Probably going downhill somewhere. But there's just one of those days. It was just one of those days where you just, I'm just going to take it easy. And so that's what I did. I took it easy, and the riding just came through. There was just definitely certain points along the way. When I was at Camino Ramon, got to a stop sign. The guy let me through. Made sure to thank him for that. Hit some stoplights along the way, especially in the early part of the ride. It was like, woo, hit a light. Then I hit the next light. No, I missed that light. Then I hit a long light. And then I hit another light at Tasman. And then I hit another light. And then I made the light before the trail. So I was actually very happy about that. It's always nice. The great thing about that is if you pay attention to the walk signals now have countdown timers. So what you do is you're paying attention to the countdown timer, and you look, because usually if you're too far away, you can't see what the numbers are, but as you get closer, you hope for, something in this like double digits, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Because if you can read it, then you can usually make the intersection by the time it gets down to 1 second. Because lights these days, there's usually no longer a pause between when it hits 0 and the light turning yellow. And that happened for me today at the intersection right before the trail, so I was actually very happy about that. Saw this guy on a bicycle. I took my time going up the ramp, and then I was just riding, and he was ahead of me. But the thing was that as I was riding, I was like, wait a minute, there is no wind in my face. I'm feeling good. I'm not feeling hungry, and that's because I had a package of cookies and some protein strips before I left work. And I was just like, wow, wait a minute, my legs are feeling good. And so then I just started cranking, and eventually after the second overpass, or the second underpass, because the trail goes under 3 roads, by the second one, I was feeling pretty good, and so I passed him. And then I didn't see him until I was going around by the airport, and then I could see that he was still behind me. And then one person passed me, and then we were coming up on Target, and there were some joggers, and they looked like they were having a good old time. And so they said hi to me, I said hi to them. It's just really a nice, friendly place to walk around. Usually there's homeless people all over the place. By all over the place, I usually mean maybe a dozen or so. So you can see anywhere from 6 to 12 when you riding through there, because there's a lot of trees along the creek, and I think this is where they sleep. So to stay, out of the stay someplace safe. So that's what I think is happening. But at no point do I ever feel unsafe when I'm riding through there. So that's the highlight of my day, was talking about the ride. And so I'm going to ride into work tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Again, completely relaxed pace. We'll see if I'm going to ride with my son or if my wife's going to take him in. So we'll see how that goes. All right. If you have anything you want to email me, by all means do so. Inside joke there. For anybody who watches this knows that the number of viewers of this program is 0. So eventually somebody's going to, if they discover it, they're going to see 228 videos of me talking about whatever. Oh, I can't let this go without some special notice. Aretha Franklin died today. For those of you people who don't know who Aretha Franklin is, she was a black singer who grew to prominence in the 60s, 70s, was still performing in the 80s, into the 90s, and she had what a lot of people would consider one of the greatest voices ever. My favorite moment of Aretha's is when she appeared in the Blues Brothers. It's just the whole sass and swagger that she displayed in the one scene when her husband decides that he has to leave his cooking job to join the band. You gotta join the band. We're on a mission from God. It is, and she lip syncs the music, but who cares? It's her song. She's singing it. She owns it. If you didn't know that it was lip sync, you wouldn't. Even if you know that she lip syncs, it still doesn't matter. It's just, you just go, damn. And the reason why, losses like this, hit you so hard is because you don't really feel like there's somebody around today that captures the same feeling. I mean, there are people out there, Rihanna and Beyonce, but they're not Aretha. And I know they're not trying to be, but they don't have those same qualities that Aretha did. It is a different time. Different people are going to behave differently, and I totally get that. So maybe Rihanna, Beyonce maybe more. Or not Mariah, Whitney Houston, those are the people for our time. And that's okay. And if 30, 40 years from now, when Beyonce passes and people look back on the career that she had and they feel the same way that we feel about Aretha, okay, I can get that. I can totally understand that. But for me, when you hear Aretha's voice, Lady Soul, that whole album, it's just totally worth buying, totally worth checking out on Spotify, listening to any of her live performances, just, because when you have that voice and that charisma and that swagger and that attitude, it just all comes through, and you're just pulled in, you're engaged, you want to hear more. And when you hear that, she passed at 74, you think, okay, it's a decent life, but you kind of wish, the person had more, because Mick Jagger's 75 now, and he's still performing with the Rolling Stones. So, those goalposts have been changing for certain people. 70 used to be old, and now it's like we've got Mick Jagger performing on stage at the age of 70 along with all the other Rolling Stones. So that goalpost is just going out there. And when you hear people like David Bowie dying at 69, and you think, oh man, they could have had another good 10 years. Situations are being what they are. Sometimes people leave this earth a little bit sooner than you'd hope they would. Okay, advice to everybody, check out Aretha. Don't try to sound like Aretha. Enjoy her voice, put on some headphones, and just sit back and just listen. And just be amazed at what she was able to create and what still lives now. Oh shoot, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, so with that, I'm going to wish you all a pleasant evening and see you all tomorrow.